I can call the January 14th meeting of the Board of Ethics to order. Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Keith Silver.
Present.
David Nesbitt is excused. Terry Kelly.
Here.
Bill Falsey. Kathleen King.
Here.
Also present is Dee Ennis, Deputy Municipal Attorney. Linda Reghart, Administrative Hearing Officer. Barbara Jones, Municipal Clerk. Amy Solberg, Minute Scheduling Clerk. And Lisa Slisner, Records Coordinator. We have a quorum.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. And would somebody like to? Okay, the move is to move the orientation up to first thing of business. Any second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving to the next thing here. Since we don't have a quorum for the people that were here at either of the two meetings, we have to defer the minutes, the approval of the minutes. And then I guess we can step right on into the orientation.
Okay.
All right, Lisa, take it away.
Well, we have an orientation packet here, and just a few topics that we thought might be interesting to you and to give it to some scope and some perspective. We can go quickly through the first few pages. They're just the organization of the municipality and the Anchorage Assembly, the current members. And then if we go on, Kathleen had asked the question about the Assembly Ethics and Elections Committee and their relationship with the Board of Ethics. And I think that Barbara answered that, but there's a little bit of a blurb on that as well in there. And then we go down to the Assembly Boards and Commissions. There are 5 boards and commissions that the Assembly Department supports. You're one of them, the Board of Ethics, also the Board of Adjustment, Board of Equalization, Salaries and Emoluments Commission, and the Election Commission. And then we come to the Board of Ethics. And the duties of the Board of Ethics are 3-pronged. We receive notices of potential violation. You provide advisory opinions, and you develop an ethics education program. Obviously, those are there are many things involved within those topics that are also become duties, and some of those duties actually become a little overwhelming sometimes, i.e. the gift disclosure is something that should be really little. It was huge for a while. The current board, the information for the current board is here. And if you don't mind, Bill and Kathleen, I didn't have a phone number that you preferred to have calls made to.
And this is being recorded if you have any difficulty with your phones.
Okay, and thank you very much, because I'll get that from your information, and I'll insert that. There's an information sheet at the end. Attendance requirements. This is worth taking a look at the bullets, because we do come close sometimes when we don't let the board or the chair know that you're not going to be here. It's counted as an unexcused absence, and in that case, there's only 3 of those that you can get before. And the code doesn't really say this step is taken or this step is taken. It just says you're off the board. So we want to really make sure that we monitor that, because we don't want anyone to be, you just are off the board. I don't really know how to say it.
Bring up one thing. I see it on your page, and it's really good. Is the first full paragraph there? If members may not, and if you notice number 2, number 3 is the important one. Publicly endorse, contribute to, or engage in any political or campaign activity on behalf of any candidate. This is a little bit unusual. That not all boards have this type of admonition, but you do. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention right away, and that's because you are in a sensitive board.
It's kind of great because you can at least, with respect to municipal offices, say, I can't give you money. Now, that doesn't stop you from getting solicited by state officers.
Thank you, Dee, for going back to that, because that's a very important paragraph, and I just
This particular
sort of
moment in
skipped
time.
at this moment in time, especially. Yes. Back to attendance, so no more than 3 unexcused absences, more than 6 unexcused or excused absences in combination, or you can't have unexcused or excused absences exceeding 1/3 of the total number of regular meetings. So if you'll look in your binder, towards the front, there's an attendance tab. It's green. And right now we have the attendance for last year. This will stay in here, but as the year goes on, I'm going to update that every meeting. So you will know where you stand every single meeting in terms of meeting these commitments for attendance. So it's right past the bright green.
Not the screen?
Uh-huh. No, go all the way back to the very beginning.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, and then I guess it's worth looking
Lisa
through.
has to do this for us, tell us every time which tab where it is.
Well, and you won't notice new members, but the old members might notice that I put in colored tabs for the disclosure because we had so many problems going between the yellows. So the first tab, membership, that's just information, and you may want to take this. Well, I put it in here, so you don't need to take it. But that's just information about all the members, so that we can have phone numbers and when we need to get people renewed. Attendance, like we said, is there, and I update it every single meeting. Training, I just keep things. If we do a training, I just keep it in your binder just so that you'll have it. And then we go to our current meeting packet, and that's usually where I'll have the book open on, when you come into the meetings. So, but anyway, so back to the orientation packet. So there are attendance requirements, and the easiest thing is, like David needed to be absent today. He just shot an email into the office last night to let us know, and then that's an excused absence. So there's some information about conflict of interest. Dee, is there anything in there that you want to highlight on conflict of interest?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. The next section is parliamentary procedure and Robert's Rules of Order. And this is kind of interesting because I just did the research on this this past week. It actually came from a class that I went to at Professional Development. And but I hardly noticed all the little rules that there are, but it's very interesting, and it may be something that a few things that we might want to incorporate. Did you want to speak to that, Keith?
Well, in particular, there's been some discussion, and it makes it a little bit easier for everyone here. On the item number 4 here, members must seek recognition from the chair. Generally, we just have a discussion. But when it becomes difficult for the person taking the minutes to keep track of who's doing what, who said what, and in the recording, it would be better if we could, and if you've ever been a part of most of the assembly meeting, they raise their hand, the chair takes the note, and then he calls the next person in line. That makes sure everybody gets an opportunity to speak. And it's harder, actually, for those of us who have been around for a while to adhere to that rule. We had an assembly person, former assembly person, Ted Carlson, actually sit where you sat, Bill, and he'd always raise his hand. And I'm trying to acknowledge him and Dee while others are having a discussion and get them into the discussion. Since we have 40% new members in the board, if the rest of us could probably work, it might be best if we try to get the attention of the chair. I'll take a note and we'll do it in the order. That's how the assembly prefers to do it. To the fact when I'm not going to say you don't have to say through the chair like they do, but it does work better, I think, to make the meeting go a little smoother. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Did I go off on a tangent?
No,
You
that's
weren't-
perfect. And these are special rules for small boards, and we are considered to be a small board, and the discussion is more informal. So a lot of the things that you might see at an assembly meeting don't necessarily happen in this room because of it being more informal. But
so we can ignore Keith afterwards.
So Keith gets to talk. In a small board, the chair gets to be part of the debate. So that's we can't ignore him. No.
I do.
Yeah. So another one of the things is we don't necessarily put put a motion on the table before discussion begins, like the assembly does. We have a discussion, and then from the discussion, our motions are formed. And so that's part of small board rules, that you may have informal discussion without a motion on the table. So that was just to me, I thought, oh, well, hey, we're doing it right anyway. So we always get a second in this room, but for a small board, a second is not required. I mean, it's preferred to know that there are two people in the room that want to have this discussion or want to make this motion before a vote is taken on it. But it's not, in a small board, you don't have to have the second for the discussion or the vote. And Keith talked about seeking recognition from the chair, and maybe that's something that we can try. If it ends up being something that's too tedious and we don't really need it, then we can chuck that. Go back to just talking and making sure that we notice Dee's hands, because Dee's the one that I think struggles a lot of times. She's like,
No,
let me in.
She hasn't
trained
kicked
with
me
the
yet.
hand.
She hasn't kicked
We
me
get
yet.
very active debates
Yeah.
in this room.
Yeah.
So it helps to control it a little bit.
Did you find anything? Because there's been some debate on whether or not the chair could either make a motion or second a motion, and I can't see anything on this that indicates that.
But actually, I should put it in there because in a small board, a chair can make a motion. So, yeah, good question.
It's been interesting when we have three people at a meeting and the chair's running, and
And
then
so the two
then
of
the other two
them
are all trading off, making a motion and seconding. And it's not often, but occasionally we've done this where we've only had three of us.
Mhm.
In fact, for last year, it seems like we had several months where we did that.
Well, and in this case, 3 is a quorum, and so,
Yeah.
So informal discussion. The rest of this, I just think you can take a look at it on your own. It's just I think it's really good information. And the next page, I just provided some common motions. We don't do a lot of these types of motions, but you're welcome to do if you want. If our discussion is going on and on and on, you're welcome to call the question. We don't often do it. We often say, okay, let's stop. But here they are. We do have a website, and it is updated. The only thing that's not current right now is I haven't made the link to Kathleen's appointment documents live yet, because I wanted to get a signed version before I put that online. So other than that, the members are all listed. You're welcome to go there and make any suggestions that you want. We can do, if there's something that you feel like, let's add this is information that people might want, that's great. Right now we have a little section on notices of potential violation. There's a link to the public on how do you file a notice of potential violation. There's the form for filing a notice of potential violation, and then there's the history of notice of potential violation.
Mm-hmm.
So if they click on the history, they can go back and take a look at several different cases that we've had over the year. The same thing for advisory opinions. We have the form, how to do it, and the history. The disclosures, we just have the forms for the disclosures, and the form for notice of intent to respond to public solicitation. That's on there, plus the how to do it. So to me, it would be helpful if sometimes you go on there and take a look at it, and maybe act as editors even, to read it, and if you want to add something or if something's unclear, or that's your website, so we can do whatever we.
Part of the appointment documents, as I recall, it had personal phone numbers on there, so that's being redacted.
Yes, since that discussion, everything gets redacted before it goes on the website, and then it sort of moved upstairs. When we had that problem, when we looked here, I talked to some people upstairs, and I've noticed that they have been redacting before they even send it down. So, which is great, because then I don't have to worry about it here. But I do worry about you all. I take care of you all to make sure.
I have received, I'm sure Dr. Kelly's received also, you get calls from the public, and generally there's not much we can discuss. Or you get calls from the reporters, and once again, there's very, very little to say. Sometimes they'll ask you about something that they may have gotten wind of that might be in front of us. Well, even if you acknowledge that it's in front of us, then you could potentially be violating confidentiality. So, or I've been asked, it seems like it was the election issue. What are you going to say? Well, I can't discuss that because if I discuss it here, then that's going to preclude me from voting on it in committee. So they've gotten a little better at it. They haven't bothered us, and I haven't had any calls from reporters in quite a while. But
Yeah, the only problem I have is the harassing calls I get from you after I listen.
well, it was
Oh,
either.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Chairman Keaton?
Yes, Dean.
Gotta get used to it, Keith.
Yes,
Okay,
it
but
is hard
I did
for me
want to
to
go
do
over
that.
2 elaborations on that, and one is the notice of potential violation is confidential. It's confidential from beginning to end, and once it's over, if we find a violation, then there's a scrubbed version that goes on the website. So it absolutely is confidential, and for obvious reasons, and especially in a political cycle, be very careful about that. And the other issue is speaking for the board, is that if someone calls you and you answer it, it implies that you're speaking for the board. And so there's that whole issue. So it's generally better to avoid. Now, Dr. Kelly, you talk to the press, or you did a compass
I did
piece
an
or
interview,
something?
yeah.
An interview. And it happened before we could object, so he did a good job.
Dee, one of the things that I have always recommended to boards and commissions, that if the chair is typically the spokesman for the
Mhm.
board, and that typically the board agrees ahead of time what the chair will say. So I think that's something that and the board did do that when you wrote your compass piece. Everybody reviewed and edited it and then agreed that this was what should be submitted. So that's a good example of that.
And we went so far as a board to one time suggest to the chair not to attend an assembly meeting because there was no way he wasn't going to get cornered by the assembly pre-deliberation by the board.
And it didn't break my heart not to attend assembly meetings.
So.
Well, and then also advisory opinions, they are initially confidential unless the requester waives confidentiality. So that's another thing to be careful about too. So there's a website, and I welcome your input. We are governed by the Open Meetings Act, and the clerk's office does take care of noticing your meetings. We notice on the municipal website. And we also do it on there's a home page, and there's calendars at the bottom. There's a boards and commissions calendar. It's also put on that calendar, but that's not the official notice. The official notice comes from the feed, I think it's called RSS. Do I have it on here? Oh, yeah. MOA Public Notices RSS. And you can find that on the home page of the municipal website. Meetings
Yes,
are...
yes.
I interrupt you. And then get to emails, sending emails to one another about things that have happened at a meeting or discussing that. There's case law suggests that that's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. It's a serial meeting, and so we ask people not to do that. The other thing that can happen is so much of that stuff is subject to public records requests, and you don't want to put yourself at risk also to open up your personal devices. So to be very, very careful about emails discussing any public business at the board meeting or from the board meeting.
There was a recent decision about the Open Meetings Act in the last couple of weeks by the court on violations of the Open Meetings Act. That was with the board meeting, but discussed exactly what you're talking about, and that is, basically conducting meetings via email instead of in this forum.
Barbara has fortunately been, very militant about watching our back on
Good
that.
job.
Yes, and I've had at least one email saying, "We shouldn't be doing this."
Right.
So,
That's
Okay.
what we're here for.
yeah.
So the last little bit here is that the meetings are recorded, and what I usually do is I try to draft the minutes as quickly as possible. I don't like to put them on the public website until I've drafted the minutes and done any editing, because we often go in and out of executive session and deliberative session. Executive sessions are taped, but they're confidential, so they don't go on the public website. deliberative sessions are not even taped. They're that confidential. They're cone of silence, secret, or what do we call it?
Double secret.
Secret session, yes. So what I try to do with the ones that are going to go on the public site, I do do my minutes first, because there's often times we may slip and say a name that we don't, shouldn't necessarily have said. And I do go through and make those, bleeps out of there. So I make sure that whatever goes on the public website is clean and consistent with what we've spoke about.
Yes.
So the minutes are posted before they're approved by the?
No, not the
This is
minutes.
after-
This is, yeah.
The
Oh.
recording.
The recording.
Oh, I see the recording.
Yeah, so the order, I take I do the minutes, and then I put the recording on public, and then the minutes come back before the board, and they're approved. And right now, we're not uploading the minutes to the website. I don't know if that's something that you want to do. Right now, they're just sort of archived in our office, and people can request them as records, so. And we do what's called,
Go ahead, we're action minutes.
we do what's called action minutes. So our minutes aren't meant to be, details about everything and he said, she said, and all that other stuff. The best place to get that is from the recording. You don't want me saying such and such exclaimed, and another person, that
Slam
kind
the stick on the table and say, "No!"
So we get down to what actions were taken. Those are definitely recorded, our motions, votes. I have been asked by the board to embellish a little bit, not to the point where I'm, play by play, but if there's a decision that's made or a consensus that has come to or a directive that's been given, I do record those in the minute. I do, say the board asked Ms. Lusner to prepare a blah, 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 So it's not, like I said, beat by beat, but it's somewhere in between. I think it's a good compromise. So, other than that, the next page we have is a new Board of Ethics member information. And what I thought was maybe I could get everybody to fill that out and hand it in before we leave, even our former members, or what? I don't want to say old members because you're not old.
Seasoned.
Current,
American.
you're seasoned. Yes.
Yeah.
American.
Current and seasoned.
Okay. To fill this out as well, because then I can update information. I know, Keith, I don't think I've got some correct information on you. I think you've changed employment since that was made. So, anyway,
Keep a job.
and then we'll go into the rest of the reorg stuff that we need to do. So, do you want to take the time to do that now? Because we could do our break now and grab sandwiches and fill out this paper.
Sure,
Okay.
go ahead.